Our panel this afternoon, we have left the best until last. So if you have joined us throughout the day and you are joining us for our final session this afternoon, I can assure you, you have made the right decision. This afternoon, I will be joined by an incredible panel of experts, and we're going to be talking all about what is next for procurement in the Middle East. We've heard a lot today about how all of our businesses and industries are affected by the future trends in procurement. So really understanding what these trends are and how to navigate them is going to be essential advice for all of you this afternoon. Let's please give a very warm welcome to Dr. Nawaf Al-Awadi. He's the Vice President of Procurement and Contracts at Fly Dubai. He's a PhD degree in procurement. He's had 2 published research in academic journals on the topic of procurement impact on organizational performance. Let's give him a very big welcome to the stage. Delighted he will also be joined by Anna Konoplyanakova. She is the Senior Director of Global Sourcing at Visa in SAMIA. She has more than 2 decades of experience in procurement and finance as well, including more than 6 years in the region. She said she's led a huge number of procurement transformation programs as well. Let's give a big welcome to Anna. And we're also very pleased you'll be joined by Bilal Ar-Hassan. He is the General Manager of Supply Chain Services Solutions by STC. Now, Bilal has more than 15 years of success in management and consulting, supported with high management and communication skills. He has consulted with some of the big 4 consulting firms on a number of JVs and provided skilled leadership to the project teams. Welcome, Bilal. Also very pleased to be joined on the stage by Mohammed Ibrahim. He is the co-founder and chief technology officer at Penny Software. This is a Saudi-based software company for procurement management and B2B marketplace. He helps businesses digitize their procurement from request to pay and consolidating all of the spending into one data-driven platform. Let's welcome Mohammed to the stage. And we are also delighted to be joined by Mariam Monjazi. She is the Director of Procurement for Aldar Education in the UAE. She's participated in a number of procurement and supply chain department restructures and transformations, not only in the Middle East, but also in Europe as well. Let's welcome Mariam to the stage. So a fantastic panel for us this afternoon. I am conscious of time, so let's dive straight in. Technology. We've been talking a lot today about technology, haven't we? And, you know, I think the potential and the implications when we look at tech from the procurement industry cannot be overstated, whether it's AI, blockchain, big data as well. But my first question I'm going to put towards a few of you. Mohammed, Dr. Nawaf, Anna as well. You are considered experts in the field, particularly when it comes to the digital transformations. So Dr. Nawaf, I might start with you. What are the strategies that you employ in order to really differentiate between what is a fleeting trend and an initiative versus what really makes an impact for procurement?
Yeah, thank you, Kate. Now, we know that digital transformation and procurement automation is a hot topic nowadays. However, it is imperative to understand what is the actual objective of having this digital transformation. From procurement perspective, what do we expect exactly to be the outcome of automating procurement activities? Now, unfortunately, in some organizations, automating procurement activities became a mandate only. It's a fancy thing that we're trying to do, fine, but is it really affecting the efficiency and the effectiveness of procurement function? Is it really adding value to the organization? This is the question. So I think we should emphasize always when we select or decide to automate our procurement functions to have objectives, to have some targets and KPIs that would reflect on adding procurement value. And it is also imperative to select the right partner that can help you achieve these goals.
Okay, so having the right partner is key. Anna, let me get your thoughts here, because as I said, you have led a number of digital transformations. How do you understand what makes an impact and what is just noise?
I think in my practice and my experience, the most important is to overlay the technology versus the maturity of the organization overall and maturity of the procurement function. Exactly, it's very easy, as you mentioned, to get bogged down in all generative AI, analytic AI, blockchain, and so on and so forth. But I think if you look at the track record of all these initiatives, and in many organizations, they are unfortunately just a buzzword rather than we see actual outcome. And for me, the reason is the maturity, whether or not the organization and the sourcing or procurement department itself is in the maturity level that can digest, that can adopt these very advanced technologies. In some organizations, and it's absolutely fine, because you need to start from somewhere. For some organizations, it probably makes more sense to start just with EDI, with electronic data information transfer, right? And by improving the quality of data, eventually you'll get to the high level and advanced technologies, but this will be done with the purpose in mind, with having the right quality of data, and therefore having the right outcome of these technologies.
Okay, so invest in getting the right data to really help you understand what your goals are before you really pinpoint what technology to use. Mohammed, let me bring you in here. What are your thoughts?
Well, as a technology provider, right, especially in the region, right, the number one main challenge that we face in selling, digital solutions that are catered toward procurement is basically convincing customers and organizations to basically make an investment in the procurement space, digitizing their procurement systems, right? That's number one. The reason is most of the organizations, right, are busy on the revenue side, right, and what actually makes money. They tend to, most of the time, overlook the fact that the spending is basically the main fuel for the organizations to grow, right? And if it is not managed right through a comprehensive end-to-end digital systems, right, their growth won't be as expected, right? So that is the number one challenge that we're facing, especially in the region, right? In other regions, it tends, to be much easier when you talk about procurement systems that people can relate to. They understand. Even they go into verticals and segments in the procurement digital space itself, right? The awareness in general, right, is not there, in my opinion, right, especially regionally. If you talk to organization about CRM, at the time of establishment, right, any organization, oh, CRM, of course, we would love to adopt a specialized CRM tool, right? But procurement, spend management, forget it. We will use just a regular module offered as part of our ERP, right? Nobody basically believes still on the value of specialized procurement software that can actually add value to the organization. This is mostly overlooked from, the buying organization side, right? So that's one main challenge. The other challenge that I can basically relate to is the solutions fatigue that organizations basically face, right? Spend analytics, demand forecasting, and also the industry itself is not helping itself. Many terms on the AI side, machine learning, GBT, LLMs, right? The trends as well, right? Everybody claims that we're delivering this. But the ROI, for me as an organization, always tend to be basically missing, right? How can I calculate the value if I make such an investment on adopting such a solution and digitizing my procurement process in general, right? So these are the main challenges, and I can discuss more, elaborate on the solutions, maybe in the next round.
Okay, do you know, something I've noticed, not only in this panel, but throughout the day, is really there's a lot of focus on having the right people to fit the right technology. And I think identifying the right talent is key. But it's interesting, I think, you know, having the right education, the right training opportunities has to be such an important part of attracting the right talent. Now, as we know, CIPS is really working to be able to elevate procurement as a distinct field of study, but typically we still don't see procurement offered as a separate major in universities today. So Mariam and Bilal, let me bring in you here. What should be the top priority when we look at filling the gap when it comes to education? And is a formal degree really necessary for success in the field? Mariam, I'm going to direct this towards you first, you know, joining us from the perspective of ALDA education in particular.
So just to reflect on what my peers have been saying, the digital transformation should not be led by the technology, it should be led by the people. So it's just a tool to support the procurement department. So what is important is not only investing in technology, but investing in the people, investing in their upskilling them. Because if they are not ready to really use these tools, they will not use them fully. And as Bilal was saying, especially in this region, we haven't achieved that level that we have in some European countries or some other Western regions. So it's great to invest in technology, but we should invest in our people first, have everything ready, and use the technology as a tool and not as a way of transforming people and upskilling them, because that doesn't work. You invest a lot in a great tool, it's a lot of money, but you don't use it fully. And that's the mistake. Or you have the technical people leading the project of establishing these tools and going towards technology and not what procurement needs. So you end up spending more and more, and because the procurement function didn't lead the project, it's the technology. So upskilling the people is first before moving to digital transformation.
Okay, Bilal, let me get your thoughts. So again, you know, we've heard a lot, big focus on upskilling the people to get the right technology, but tell me, where does the real skills gap exist? Do we need to be having, you know, procurement offered as a separate university degree? Often it just comes along under accounting or operations. What do you think the solution is?
Well, it's mixing. I have been in digital transformation since years. The most challenging part of the digital transformation to change the mindset, how people is looking at procurement. Procurement usually is hated by the organization. They are seeing it as you are wasting my time, I could finish my job with the supplier, no need for procurement. So the main angle is to position procurement within each organization and to show the value. So the main, let's say, the main concept of the digital transformation, for sure the technology is one of the most critical angles, while to need to change the mindset, you need to show procurement how will be you as a business partner. Once you came on all this as a scenario, for sure, you need to build your team, the mentality, let's say, how to deal with the internal customers, how for sure the procurement, and at the end of the day, how they are negotiating with the suppliers to know the technology, what they are purchasing. So that, let's say, the field of the procurement to have a specialized certificate on this kind of things should be an added value for all people. But before that, and before doing digital transformation, you need to position yourself within the organization to show the value of procurement, changing the mindset of the procurement, tactical procurement, which is the old-fashioned, to show the value to be how agile, cost efficient, how you bring more value to your organization, how to bring more profit. This is, so you should treat the people and teach them to be more in sales and profit generation before they are doing really the daily job of procurement cycle.
Good advice. It's a similar message we heard from Suleiman Abdullah from the FTA earlier, who said mindset is 80%. Mindset is 80% and strategy is just 20%. Dr. Nawaf, I know this is an area you're really passionate about making right educational opportunities.
No voice.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I believe one of the challenges that most of the procurement departments today are facing is positioning themselves properly in the organization. And to do that, you need to have the right talent, as my colleagues here mentioned. Now, unfortunately, maybe in the Middle East and then specifically in UAE, we don't have procurement being a major in universities. Procurement is actually not even procurement as a topic. Supply chain, more of logistics, freight, and warehousing is part of operational management course in business administration college. Now, I did my research on the impact of procurement on organizational performance, and I found a huge gap in the literature today showing and reflecting the value of procurement and how does it impact positively on organizational performance. So I encourage and I believe that such procurement institutes like CIPS, for example, can contribute and collaborate with the universities in order to have procurement as a subject, if not a major in one of the colleges, but at least as a course in one of the majors, specifically in business administration college. Because today, students would not have passion. I mean, I'm sure no one here chose procurement. Most of you, procurement chose you. Myself, procurement chose me. I did not know that there is something called procurement when I graduated from my undergraduates. So it is important to educate students and put that passion of procurement in them. And by doing that, it needs to be taught in universities before they decide whether they want to go, for example, choose HR, marketing, finance, and etc. Procurement is something very important today as a function. It should be taught in universities, definitely, Kate.
Good advice. So really we need to see that change, that awareness at every level in order to be able to create our procurement professionals of the future. Well, let me change subjects a little bit. A lot of talk today about the environment, about ESG, about sustainability as well. Tell me, how do we make sure that we are making the right sustainable choices, reducing our environmental footprint, and not just focusing on a little bit of greenwashing? Who would like to take that one?
I could start.
Wonderful, Bilal.
Okay. For sustainable procurement, now it's the trend, especially with the Vision 2030. There is a lot of regulation within the kingdom. It has been forced that you have to put some restriction on the suppliers. So let me give you a brief what we did within Solution. For during supplier qualification, we have certain criteria which have been built previously. So each supplier have certain score. I'll concentrate on too many things. For example, green logistics, having some smart warehousing tools, so we will not overutilize the electricity and these things, making sure that all the manufacturer using, let's say, reusable items and these things. So we have some certain characteristics. Building in the supplier qualification, have certain scoring mechanism, and on the next stage, and this has been requested even by the company, to have some weightage during the commercial and technical evaluation. So at the end of the day, because some of the customers have even mandating that you have, let's say, some sustainable resources, some renewable energies, making sure that it is within the portfolio, and some penalties sometimes coming from the customer. So we build all this in a value chain, building inside the system. So we'll make sure and we have full transparency with our suppliers linked to the customer. This is in brief what I see sustainable.
Anna, I can see you want to jump in there, and I'd love to hear your perspective. You know, again, Visa is such a big multinational giant. What are some of these steps that you're taking to ensure that your procurement practices really align with the environmental objectives?
I think, look, there is, all these discussions about green procurement, how we take a certain percentage in evaluation of the procurement events, we dedicate certain percentage to the adherence to our sustainable practices or principles. That's all fantastic. I mean, I think it's definitely steps in the right direction. What I wanted to kind of pinpoint, and this comes out as a feedback from a lot of suppliers, not only in the Middle East, but I've had exactly the same challenges in Europe. They get bogged down by so many requirements from so many different companies. One company wants one scorecard, the other company wants the other scorecard. They're getting lost, and in many times we are not talking about super sophisticated multinational companies who have teams of people who can fill in all these scorecards and kind of get the right feedback. So I think one of the I think the sustainability is the area where actually, irrespective of whether you're competition or not, this is where the company can actually cooperate. And one of the examples is, for example, in Europe, you have such an organization as EcoVadis, which is like an external organization which does the sustainability audits, and EcoVadis is just one of the examples. But the point is, I think what's missing in the Middle East is this type of organization, because EcoVadis, for example, has very low coverage in the Middle East. And again, I'm not talking about EcoVadis, but because we dealt with them quite a lot in Europe. But if we think it's more also from the procurement standpoint of view, it's on procurement to see how we can cooperate across the industries or across the different organizations to be able to form a certain kind of align our requirements, make this partnership with the suppliers easy, because none of our suppliers is at the level where we want them and expect. So we need to develop these relationships. So we need to think as a sourcing, what is the effective way of building and fostering these relations? So both of us achieve that goal.
Good advice. Well, we're almost out of time. I'd love to get all of your thoughts on what you think the future of procurement will look like in the region in 5 years' time. Mariam, I'm going to start with you and then we'll move back this way. What are your predictions?
I think that some of the roles of the task of the procurement will be fully automated. So the task of purchasing will be automated. But for procurement, strategic procurement, you always need a brain. This cannot be automated. ChatGPT, all this AI, whatever, cannot replace that.
Mohammed, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the way I would see this, right? I mean, if we go back to the principles, right? What is basically the main job of a procurement function for an organization, right? It is, number one, foremost, right, is fulfilling the organization needs and demand and facilitates the business growth, right? Of course, taking multiple parameters into concern, like fulfilling the needs on time, fulfilling the needs at the best cost, I mean, fulfilling the needs with the best matching quality that, I mean, the end users are expecting. Right? And there are other forecasts, I mean, other different parameters. Now, if you look at it from this angle, I mean, procurement is nothing but an optimization problem from technology standpoint, right? As a technology provider, we look at it exactly this way, right? So what we're optimizing for is matching the organization need through tools, technologies, and systems so that they can fulfill the organization's need on time, best cost, best credit terms, matching quality, and sustainable processes. Now, if we really build and select the right tools, right, and technologies that can enable doing this, many of the repetitive jobs and tasks will be eliminated completely, right? Autonomous sourcing will be more and more empowered, right? Where, finding the right product match, finding the right suppliers will be completely automated process. Now, what procurement professionals will be busy with mostly is sitting in the steering wheel, right? Putting the right steps and processes for demand forecasting. Being busy with building human relationship and interactions with the suppliers, right? So that would put humans, of course, always on the steering wheel, while technology completely take rid of all the tedious, repetitive tasks. When it comes to data organizations, bringing insights, digging into the historical data and so on. So that will be completely dominated by the technology in the near future. But that can only happen if people, again, start understanding the importance of adopting specialized procurement technologies.
Okay, so automation can certainly make things more efficient, but at the end of the day, procurement will always be about those face-to-face relationships. Bilal, what are your thoughts on the future of procurement in the Middle East?
We will cut it short in 3 main angles. People, as mentioned by the gentleman whom with me in this stage. So we need to concentrate on the people to be more agile, to be more cost-effective, to have, let's say, proper positioning within any organization to show the value of the procurement. Then we will go to the, let's say, the digital transformation and technology. I see it as a seamless integration with the guided buying. So everything within the technology which have been demonstrated today in this session, either AI, chatbot, GPT, we are talking about blockchain, so you have secure platform linked to you with the source of truth. So at any time of moment, the buyer should be guided somehow to whom should he source from, what's the optimal value, which is the best price. So for sure we'll go to the main angle, which is agile, cost-effective processes, and finally sustainability, for the sustainability and the green field, and to make sure that all the sustained procurement field coming in the future.
Absolutely, and I think that that phrase "seamless experience" for customers is going to be so important. Anna, what are your thoughts? What does the future of procurement look like in the Middle East in 5 years?
I would not repeat what's already been said, and I think it's absolutely spot on. Yeah, definitely all these are very important things. Perhaps what I would also add is I believe procurement will play a bigger role, much bigger role than we are doing now in innovations, and bring innovations back to our organizations, because procurement, no matter how much we can optimize the processes as much as we can, but we are this external view for the organization to see what's happening in the market. And that's where I think we need to leverage much more and bring the innovations back to organization, help with adoption, and see how we can meet the business requirements in a much different way.
Dr. Noah, final thoughts with you today.
Yeah. I think with all of these efforts and contributions that are happening from procurement community, 10 years fast forward, procurement will not be a support function anymore. I don't believe procurement representatives would need to spend much effort selling procurement as a value add. Because I think with these contributions in future, and this is the target that I would love to achieve, where key stakeholders would come and believe in procurement function and the value that is procurement driving, rather than procurement selling these values.
Absolutely. I think procurement really has to have that role within the C-suite. It's something we've been talking about a lot today. No longer just about crunching numbers, is it? I think procurement really is such a strategic powerhouse if company leaders can really empower the procurement department to do that. Panelists, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Let's give them a very big round of applause, shall we?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.